If you clicked on this video, I feel like you know what you're getting into. Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Elden Ring. These games right here make up a genre called Souls game, developed by From Software Studios, and over the past 15 years have become some of the most well-known and most popular games. People take weeks off of work when the new Souls game comes out. Twitter riots as these game reviewers complain about the game being too hard. There are clips, videos of bosses miles high, all to experience a SoulsBorne game. I love these games. I haven't played all of them, but each one good as the last. And since Elden Ring is getting a brand new DLC, I have put it upon myself to beat every single Souls game and give it an honest review, similar to what I did with Tekken. I want to look at one of my favorite gaming franchises and through these reviews figure out what makes a Souls game so great that once Gen Z is all in government, the government will shut down when a new Souls game comes out. Of course, we do have to start with Dark Souls. Wrong! It didn't actually all begin with Dark Souls. It actually began with Demon Souls, coming out February 5th, 2009, FromSoft's first ever attempt to make a Souls game. Not really. See, the original idea for this game was supposed to be a Kingfield game, one of their original titles back in the PS1, and it was supposed to compete with Oblivion, but, well, as game development goes, it wasn't that easy. Now, Miyazaki, the GOAT, saw this project and said, I want to work on that one, and started changing things all over the place, which is crazy that he was allowed to do this. But finally, this led to the creation of Demon Souls, and it had a terrible release in Japan. The Japanese just did not like this game until Sony did not release it in America, but there was hope. Bandai and Atlas said, yeah, we got that, and brought it to the land of the free, and it did 5 times better in America than in Japan in its first week. That's because us Americans are masochists. I will be going over the remake and referencing the original, mostly so that your eyes don't have to burn under PS3 graphics. First ever attempt at a Souls game, it does introduce a lot of series staples, but it also introduces things that just never return. Such example is healing in this game. Typically from now on in the future games, you'll get a set amount of heals and a flask. In this game, you just get grass. You can buy as much as you want, and you can eat as much as you want during any boss fight. So you basically have infinite heals. The environment is just like any Dark Souls, as this is the first one. You get your dark medieval world of the undead. There are demons plaguing the land from the power of the old one. And if you know Dark Souls, you know this is really all the lore you get told up front. The rest you learn through character interactions and just exploring the world. This game is very big on showing, not telling you what's happening. Take your character and look at my Marvel Legends figure of Gambit. Oh, this is terrible character creation. We wake up in the tutorial area, where by learning the basics like parrying and fighting, you get a sense of hope. And I'm good at this. These enemies are nothing. And then once your ego is high, my favorite series staple, the boss you have no business of fighting. A little bit of course correction as this boss drops your ego down so far. There's always a boss in every Souls games you can't beat right at the beginning, just to drop that ego and remind you, you're not him. After our timely demise, our next stop is the Nexus, the safe haven. This is the hub world where you can level up, store your items, upgrade your gear, get new spells, certain shops. My favorite part of most Souls games is seeing the hub world fill up with people the more you meet across the land. The two most important is the lady in black, and I don't normally care about the females in games and get all wooga wooga, but I would love to see like someone in person cosplay this. She helps us level up, and I love seeing her in the Nexus just kind of wander around and kick her feet up. And the second best NPC is our sweet boy Thomas. He will hold our items as there's a limit you can carry in this game. I'm pretty sure this is a Demon Souls only, but he is a sweet, tragic man who has lost his family. But every time I play this game and think about like going to the dark route, I'm just like, but Thomas, you have a heart of gold. The light in this world. There's also this blacksmith here, but there's a much cooler and better blacksmith in a later area, so irrelevant. Before we can even access leveling up and the other areas, we have to prove ourselves in Bolateria by defeating the first demon. Bolateria is basically Britain, a giant castle town with a bunch of broken teeth slender goons. and later down these fat bumpy pigs. Combat honestly doesn't have depth, but it does. Paradoxical, but it works. Every weapon has 2 attacks, a light and a heavy, fast and quick, strong and slow. There is sometimes a dodge attack and a run attack, but it's not much different from your main attacks. Most weapons also do play completely different, like a katana and a big sword do not have the same moveset. And you'll also find out the Soul's specialty above anything else is the dodge roll. It gives you a little bit of invincibility and is a staple of the series. You think Dark Souls, you think the roll. You have other weapons like bows, crossbows, shields. Shields can parry, and your bows are used for your ranged option. Souls games have never been big on parry. Obviously there is parry, and some people really like this parry, but for me personally, I don't like the parry in the typical Souls games. There will be a game that I love the parry in, but just this one. It still feels good seeing your enemy stagger and getting that massive blow. Now, there's a ton of different build types. You either get big, massive, ooga booga sword, or quick and fast dexterity type. So either samurai or caveman. Pick your poison. But if you don't want to use a sword, axe, katana, hand weapon, there's also spells, wizard, magic, fireball shit, or the holy calling of Christ. Magic is pretty offensive, but most face moves are typically buffs and heals, but if you're going with a faith build, you're going to want to need a weapon in this game. But this simplicity makes depth. Figuring out everything and figuring out your build and what you want to do in this game and how you want to play. Do you want to range out and use magic? Do you want to have a heavy sword that you're only going to swing once but it does so much damage? Or do you want to move around like a samurai and kill them with 1,000 cuts? You'll figure out what you like through trial and error. You will die and you will die. You will start as a caveman just banging a stone against the ground until you finally make fire. But while you learn the basics in Bolateria, you find the boss key, which gives you access to the boss room, the very first demon, a blob of shields, and it is so easy. It's one of the easy bosses in the series. Throw some fire pots at it and chop chop. Since I have played this game, it will be a lot easier to clear through. This was my first Souls game, and for some reason I struggled against him back in the day. But this unlocks our first bonfire, a place of rest, and where you can return to other bonfires. Now we are finally worthy of being a demon slayer. There's a small child who tells us about the past. Yeah, I don't care anyways. Now the Maiden in Black will finally allow us to level up. And how leveling up works in this game is via souls. The more enemies you kill, the more souls you get. And this is your currency for everything. Healing items, weapons, upgrades, level ups. Side about souls, if you die, you can lose them. So, as the Dark Souls specialty, you get punished for playing bad. Now stat wise, you may look at this and go, oh, I need to put everything in everything, make it all even. And you will never beat this game this way. We min-max in this bitch. You only need maybe 4 skills at most to put your points in. They also will punish you again for dying in other reasons. They do this and it's really annoying. They nerf your health when you die. You die in your human form in the world. Your world becomes a darker world. In this game, this is a Demon Souls only. There is world alignment. So if you do good things, your world turns light. If you do bad things, your world turns dark. So if you die in your human form, 1, you get your HP nerfed until you go back to human form, and 2, you go into a darker world, which is harder than the lighter worlds. So this game is really big on, oh, you're losing? No. You're getting punished for that. Why all of us Demon Souls fans knows about that stairs that we all just jump off in the Nexus, because when you die in the Nexus, world alignment doesn't change. All I could think about when I was just climbing up these stairs again when playing this game, I was just like, I'm back in the fucking building again. I have chosen to run a faith build wielding the giant sword of moonlight. You would think you would need some strength, but nah, I wield the power of God in my hands. We also unlock every area. Of course, we have been to Bolateria, but there are 4 more areas: Stonefang Tunnel, Tower of Bolateria, Shrine of Storms, and the Valley of Defilement. I hate the Valley of Defilement. Area 2 is the mines, a bunch of old hitchback gooners that sometimes want to throw rocks at me. That's why you're fucking in the mines. Also, the much better and cooler blacksmith, Baldwin. If you give him the soaring demon soul, he can infuse demon souls into your weapons and make some of the strongest weapons. Traversing these mines gets us to the Iron Spider, another easy pummel to death bomb. Sometimes you have to run away when it spits its lava vomit at you, but it's nothing difficult. Our next area is the Prison of Hope, or hentai jail. This area is truly where you can see the difficulty. Not through a lot of enemies or hard enemies, but through the Souls game's favorite of tight corridors and hallways. These fucking monsters can hit you with their shock spell from anywhere, especially considering how small each area is, and just go to town putting their juice in you. And it doesn't help that there's these little guys all over the place. Some will aggro and hit you, others will just follow you around praising you. I tried to be a good guy and be like, alright, I'm not gonna kill them, they're not attacking me. But damn, they got in the way so many times and got me killed by the hentai guards. I was like, fuck it, fine, I have to kill them. Making it through this prison. The next boss, Fool's Idol. Quite an easy boss. She creates clones of herself, just looks for the one that doesn't have a health bar above her head. Now, there is a gimmick to this fight. If you don't find this gooner that is outside of the boss area, she will fully heal, making the boss way more difficult. But if you know where he is and kill him beforehand, the boss is super easy. Now, Area 4, Spooky Scary Skeleton Land. These Beyblade rolling skeletons are quite easy to deal with. Use your shield or dodge, as they have long staggers, but they hit hard. And also in this area, guess who's here? Your old friend, the Ego Dropper. He's blocking our path, but we can handle him now. I got this. I'm way stronger than before. I got this. Okay, stairs it is. He will always be there for you to rematch whenever you're ready, but passing him, we make it to the Adjudicator, Mr. Belly Rolls himself. He has a glaring weak spot where there's a giant sword in his stomach. Hit it a few times and he'll fall over where you can finally do damage. And now lastly, the final area, the tried and true Poison Swamp area. We will see these again. But I hope you like strange green liquids, rats, crackheads, because that's where we are, New York City. But this area, the enemies aren't hard. The boss Leechmonger is not hard. What makes this area so fucking annoying is, one, getting to the boss itself. Said the Prison of Hope had tight corridors and are bad to move against. That is nothing compared to this. You can fall with the minor misstep to your death. There's so many ledges, and the enemies have moves that push you all the way down. There's poison, plague, every step you turn. Just trying to make it to the boss is going to kill you, and the boss just melts with any fire weapon. I hate this area with a hard H, as it's the only reason it was such a hassle for me to clear this game. You have to be extra careful on every step, but that's also why you're getting jumped by people asking for 350. I just wanted to talk about the first area of each level. The fun thing about this game is you don't have to do it in any order other than the first one. It makes it a lot easier to beat the game if you're stuck on one area, which I fucking was, to just go to another one, beat the next boss. You also only have to beat one world to be able to fight the final boss. Now, I don't recommend that because it's really difficult. I had a really broken build with the Moonlight Greatsword, Adjudicator Shield, Regenerator's Ring, and the Heal Prayer, getting about 5 to 6 health per second. But this meant I was ready. Back to the mines. Exploring deeper, we encounter blizzards and lava bugs. The further you go, the more lava there is. Honestly, the enemies weren't even that hard. It's just figuring out how to get past the lava. We also get tricked by my favorite NPC, Hatches. Really? That was your master plan? He tries to trick you and kill you with the dumbest plans, but does become a really good ender for cheap. In the mines, our next boss is Flame Lurker, basically Donkey Kong on fire, jumping up and down, hitting you with some of the meanest right hooks. Once you knock him to half health, all his moves cause fire explosions. He does have a very typical pattern, so he is easy to figure out and dodge around. Just don't get hit, because you will be hit 2 times and you're dead. Now that that is over, we make it right to Dragon God. This is a giant gimmick fight. I really thought we were going to get to fight the Destroyer of Worlds, the Dragon God. Now, most Souls games do have a gimmick fight, but it's basically one, and it's cooler because you get a special weapon. That gimmick fight comes later. This one, you just avoid eye contact like a socially awkward middle schooler and run to each end to activate a weapon and then do it again on the other side. That's it. He goes down, and then you can literally use any weapon to kill him. There is an achievement to use these fists called the Hands of God to pummel him to death. And these are literally the worst weapons in the game. Moving back to the prison after we beat the false idol, we are dragged up to the next area. Way easier than the first areas. Now the enemies are these gargoyles and absolute grotesque abominations. We have to knock this giant flesh blob down to get to my least favorite boss in the entire game. Maneater. Let me put y'all on game real quick. This boss gets on my nerves. You're on this tight corridor trying to fight this beast. He has moves that will knock you all the way down, causing instant death, because he knows he can't do enough damage to kill me. And this stupid motherfucker just runs away, comes back, runs away again, and if that's not enough, he doesn't even have the respect of a one-on-one. He calls his buddy to jump. Half the time I die is because I'm getting hit by an attack that gets me stuck on a ledge and then I fall over. This man has never once killed me with his own two hands. And you know, this AI barely even works. It's glitching all over the place. Like, look at this. This is not how this boss is supposed to work. Moving on, we get to the Mad Monk, whose fight is just an invasion. You have to fight a red player in battle. I like the idea, but in practice, there were so many issues. My first bout was annoying as hell, as I'm literally hitting them, but their health is not going down. And whoever this person was, fuck you. Your build is so annoying. Speaking of this, I oftentimes forget there's an online aspect. People play this game for PvP. Like, the messages people leave in this game helps make everyone feel connected. Even though we don't know each other, seeing this message from other players helps us feel connected. That's why there's such a community in these games. Someone leaves a message and everyone's just like, me too, bro, me too. There's also invasions. People can invade your world and just beat your ass. Or, if they're nice, they can help you defeat bosses. Now we're back to spooky, scary skeleton land. There are some Reapers around here that summon a ton of ghosts, but once you kill the Reaper, they just all disappear. The real kicker of this area are these damn manta rays. Whenever I'm in the open, they keep sniping me, pissing me off. Ooh, Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. Also, Patches is back with his typical shenanigans, throwing us into a pitch. Oh, and look, the door's right there. This gets us to Old Hero. I love his design. He looks so cool. Now, the gimmick of this boss is he's blind, so he will only hit based on what he hears. But he does hit like a semi-truck. The downside is you can just walk around him. It makes me feel bad because I'm beating up an old disabled person for their disabled parking pass. This means I can get my revenge on these manta rays. Another gimmick fight, but I like this one. You get a special weapon that fills with this wind energy, but it can only be used at its full potential in this area. Now, Storm King and its mini manta rays get absolutely eviscerated by this weapon, and it feels so good to charge it up and just hit these unholy creatures. Ooh, revenge feels so nice. Back to the swamps. I already said fuck and just trick slowly through the poison water. I'd rather take my chances with that than the crackheads and bees. This gets us to Dirty Colossus. At first, I was wondering why this was a second stage boss. I was wondering, like, I'm melting him. He hasn't done any damage to me. And then I looked at my health bar and I saw I was almost dead. He hits you with flies that just chip away at your health slowly. Then after I take a shower, we go to the final boss of this area, Maiden Astraea, who tells us to leave this place. This is a place for the scared, for those who do not have a place. She revives the knight, who also warns us not to fight unless we attack, and he won't fight. I originally intended to do this fight for real, but the knight just keeps running away, so eventually I did the arrow cheese method. But it makes me think, am I the bad guy for killing her? She didn't do no wrong, and it's not like I had to kill her. I only needed to kill one of the bosses. This was unnecessary violence. I'm a monster. Anyways, back to Bolateria. Basically, the next area is a lot of running. Try not to burn to death. Which gets us to Tower Knight. Just ankle bite. He looks menacing, but those ankles are quite delicious. The next area is right before the castle, the upper level, with a lot of these fat officials. They are gross, overconfident, fat as mother. And when you make it to the boss, oh, sweet, deserved justice. That right there is the Inhaler. He has such a cold entrance and such a cool boss fight. Just make sure you watch out for the Aerith treatment. Honestly, that means the final boss, King Alon. After getting burned to death a good few times, we get a 1v1 this bastard. All his swings have wind damage. He has a giant AoE insta-kill charge move and the "your power is mine" grab, where he steals a level. He steals a level and you never get it back. Ever. It's like not as hard as I remember it was. A lot easier this run than my first run. But now I'm basically playing this game with a way better build, and I was trash back then. But, in fact, we're not done. Our goth girlfriend takes us to the old one, the first demon, where we can either become one with a demon, plunging the world into darkness, or leave and let our goth GS save the world. At this moment, I think about Thomas, our one precious boy, and choose not to plunge the world into darkness. This game was a lot easier to play this time around. I also see it as the perfect beginner Souls games. It gets you used to all the mechanics and dying. This game introduces so much, like NPCs, how the game shows and not tells you things. Right, one of my favorite NPCs is the son of the king, who you find and help along the way, but if you don't fight in every mission, you have to fight him before the final boss. I kinda didn't want to fight him at first. Bro, I don't... Damn, that shit kinda hurt, man. Fuck you. But my favorite thing is how this game just doesn't tell you shit. Nah, figure it out. No explanation. Story point? Nah, you go talk to the characters. I ain't gonna tell you about the story. Now, general knowledge gets carried over, but this game will not tell you where to find keys, why this is happening, and it makes you feel so alone, lost. But if you persevere, you find the path. How to make it easier, a shortcut, exploration, a trial and error. And even in this, that's the game's beauty. It shines so bright. It's not telling you how to play the game. It's not telling you how to beat the game. It's letting you experience the game. The game doesn't tell you how to beat every boss. The game doesn't tell you how to do everything. But it says you'll find out. I believe in you.